Now, I'm coming to the iconic, I'm coming to the award of the year, I mean what, DRDO, etc. Change maker of the year. I am thrilled. I was a young civil servant in the Foreign Service. I had a bit of a tiff because, as usual, I'm used to speaking a little more than I should. I threw my weight around. And I used to serve a foreign secretary who had very broad shoulders. In came a guy who was insecure and felt uncertain with me around. So he said, you know, you have run policy in MEA. Now time to go to Ministry of Defense. So I said, I didn't know what hit me, you know, but I said nasty things to him in a civilized way, but I won't go into those. But I went to the Ministry of Defense and I had the privilege of working with, I should be respectful, President Kalam. He was then scientific advisor to the Raksha Mantri. That was his title. And I got working very closely with him. Along came a minister who says that his degree was MA English from Ottawa. Now don't guess who the name of the minister. He didn't speak a word of English. And so there is a minister who is an MA English from Ottawa, and there is a scientific advisor to the RM who is Dr. Kalam, who didn't speak a word of Hindi. So we used to have a weekly meeting where all the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, DRDO, and a young greenhorn joint secretary like me, paraded there by the defense secretary, who was a Haryana cadre officer, but was more of an Englishman than any I have seen, and have served in England. And he said, you will do the translation. So I said, God help me, God help me. How can I do the translation? I don't understand half of the language of the minister, and if the DRDO chief, Mr. Kalam, starts speaking Hindi, I won't understand it either. So this Haryana cadre officer, a boss of mine, a brilliant guy, Tapas Banerjee, he said, "Main to hoon na," you know, film ka, "Main to hoon na." So I sat there and I started translating. It was on the one hand a nightmare, because anything I said would pass, because one guy didn't understand what the other guy was saying, and the rest would depend on the minutes I was recording, you know. And then my first pot shot came when the then Chief of Air Staff says, his staff officer called me, he also later became Chief of Air Staff. He said, "Be careful, my chief didn't say this, he said this." I go, "Send me what he said." Now, I didn't have smartphones then, and the other guy sent me. So what was happening, these chiefs of services were telling their factotums or their advisor, "Maine to ye bol diya, maine to wo bol diya," where in the meeting they were not saying any of it. So I said, I told my boss, this is happening. He said, "Let's have some fun." Okay. Pehli bari to I didn't correct myself. So agli bari dekh. Next time when they send it, मैंने कहा मेरे पास recording है, बता दूंगा कि तुमने क्या बोला, what you said inside and what you are claiming. So we had a very good time. The minister fell in love with me. He used to tell wo foreign wale Sardar ji ko bulao. Now I had a very difficult time because the minister's Hindi also was very difficult to understand. He was a very famous leader. So he went to a press conference. So somebody said, "Seema pe kya sthiti hai? Do you understand Hindi? What is the situation in the border?" So he would close his mouth and say, "Seema mein tanav hai," which means there's a lot of tension on that. So I got rattled. So if I had to translate that for Kalam, but now I come to say, Kalam was a great guy. And what he did for the DRDO, I'm sorry I choose my words very well, he was a pioneering scientist. There are a lot of people who are scientists. I'd finished my tenure in the Defense Ministry. I came back to External Affairs Ministry, and I rewind back May 1998. I got a call from a man who was then the Foreign Secretary in the morning. It was a Saturday morning, if I remember. "What are you doing today?" So I said, "Foreign Secretary asking me, Joint Secretary not used to calls like this." I said, "I'm doing everything that I do on a Saturday. I will come to the office, we'll stay there till 1 o'clock. He knew what used to happen after 1 o'clock. We used to go for an extended lunch because Saturday is a holiday, not a working day. We used to go to the India International Center and continue our, official deliberations over, what. Okay. So he said, no, today you don't go to where you go at 1 o'clock, you stay in the office. I said, my God, this is strange. Guy is calling you at 9 o'clock when you're leaving for the office, then said, stay in the office till 1:30. And he said, that collaborator of yours, Rakesh Sood, who was Joint Secretary Disarmament, keep him with you. Because he used to go with me there, he said, keep him with you. All right, around 11 o'clock, a friend of mine who was a journalist also dropped in. His father happened to be then, I think he was the Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission. He said, father has been missing since morning. I said, then what happened? Fathers go to office in the morning. What is the problem on a Saturday? Then he said, he was in the territorial army, Then he said, I went to the defense room. Everybody's in the war room. Nobody knows why they are in the war room. I said, must be something happening. We were also gossiping and saying maybe some word will come. Then somebody turned around and called me and he said, where is Lakshmi? That's my Lakshmi. And I said, she is gone for a G15 meeting in Cairo. So then that guy turned around and said, all right, you got her number? I said, there were no cell phones. I said, I know how to contact her through the ambassador and so on. Acha, wo theek hai, tiyar rakhna. One of them, by that time, six or seven guys had collected in my room. One of the guys turns around and says, koi lagta G15 mein kuch gadbad ho gaya. Now, anybody who has any understanding of international relations should know that G15 is not an organization important enough for any gadbad to take place there. All right, so maine kaha, kahan gadbad ho gaya G15 mein? So then we said something is happening. Then somebody's bulb went up. I think we have exploded a nuclear device. I don't know how it happened, but certainly in going around. So from G15 mein gadbad ho gaya to, and the whole country took up. God, why is that important? Why am I talking about this? Because I remember Dr. Kalam. Because let me tell you, before that, India was subject to all manner of technology denial regimes. There was a system of international apartheid. But that one act, we had done what is called a PNE earlier also. But the fact of the matter is the international regime was developed. Anybody who did it earlier, didn't matter. Whenever did it later, what happened? So some people became part of the nuclear, select club, and the rest of us got left out. We not only challenged, that is the first instance in Mr. Vajpayee's time when he challenged an international regime on our terms, and the international community came around to our point of view. We signed an India-specific safeguards agreement with the IAEA. We signed a civilian nuclear deal with the United States. The then government, later on, when we signed the deal, no commercial contracting took place for a variety of reasons. But today they're again back talking about small modular reactors, etc. So but today we are paying tribute to a man called Dr. Kalam. He became president later. I've had a very close working relationship with him. When I came to the defense ministry, I used to be a little surprised. He used to call some of us young joint secretaries, put a world map. Then he would say, one missile, one missile. He had the whole world map on where there are missiles. Later, after the second meeting, I understood what he was saying. Hey, you are within range here. This can happen here. Intercontinental ballistic missile can do this. This was the visionary. So if you honor the DRDO, you are also honoring a man like that. I think all the 6 categories you've honored are all very well deserving. My heartiest congratulations. But more than that, when you study continuity and change, it's something philosophical. Who makes history? I mean, if you take the views of David Hume on the right and Karl Marx on the left, one will have you say that the individual makes history. No, individuals make history. But the other guys will tell you, not in circumstances of their choosing. Ground reality is what determines it. So when you honor change makers, you're also acknowledging the complexity of the process of life and change. So heartiest congratulations. This has gone on a little longer than I had anticipated. So you messed up a bit. No, she was saying, no, but thank you very much. Thank you for calling me here, and more strength to your elbow. But I think you should also honor not only the 6, actually a little more because 2 awards in 1, but even all those people who came in the consideration zone, because I know how difficult it is for any jury. I know these jury are very, very with broad shoulders, but you know, the difference between X and Y can be very nuanced. Honor them, and frankly, if you honor the process of all 1900 nominations received, that itself deserves to go into a compendium. So heartiest congratulations, and thank you for bearing with me. God bless you all.